What is up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Roster Chronicles, where we do a Dynasty roster review on your team. We look at some of these stud players, the core players that we want to build around. We look at some of the trade pieces. We look at some of the team needs. We look at some of the trade targets, what to do with some of the picks. So we take a look at everything. We give you some advice and what to do in your current situation. How can we make our team better for the future? So before we get into this episode, guys, do me a favor there. Hit that like, hit that subscribe if you do play Dynasty Fantasy Football. But let's get right into the video. We've got a 12-team Superflex here. It's only a start 8, though. So we've got a QB in a Superflex spot. We've got 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, 1 tight end, 1 flex. So not that deep. We're not starting too many. Looks like the roster size is not too deep as well. We've got in 2023, we've got picks 104, 107, 111, 202, 203, 204, 206, 209, 212. So a bunch owns the whole second round, basically.
Yes, he does.
In 24, we've got 2 firsts, 4 seconds, a third. And in 2025, he's got all his picks. We've got the taxi squad of Brevin Jordan, David Bell, and Sky Moore.
Get him out of there. Get
tight end
Reverend
room.
Jordan just taking up a spot. There's no reason for him to do that.
Tight end room, we've got Pitts and Okonkwo. QBs, we've got Russell Wilson, Geno Smith, Mayfield, Mike White, Trey Lance. Running backs, J.K. Brees Hall, J.T., Donovan Knight, Gibby, Herbert, White, and Spiller. Wide receivers, we've got D.K., Elijah Moore, Ayuk, Collins Bateman, Tony Sutton, Terrence Marshall, Atwell, and Shenault. All right, where's the studs at, Bagala? Who are we building around? Who are you not getting rid of here?
Well, for this team, I'm keeping Brees Hall, Brees the Beast. I'll keep JT. I guess you could say you could keep DK and Kyle Pitts. And I want to say I want to keep Trey Lance, but I just don't know what's going on. Don't know what's going on.
I think you have to. You don't want to take, bottom dollar. So you got to just hold on to him and hope, with the upside that he has.
Something happens.
Which is interesting. I mean, we know Brock Purdy obviously is doing his thing, but I think the one thing that just gets me the most is like, all right, if Brock Purdy can do that, imagine what a guy like Trey Lance can do if Brock Purdy's doing that. Like that's
yeah, but it's different. It's different because Brock Purdy played 4 years. 4 years. I think he played at Iowa State. He's a lot more mature. He understands defenses a lot better because he just didn't have the athleticism to rely on to run around. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Trey Lance played 1 year of ball, if that. So, it's just Purdy's more mature. He sees the field better. And if they have a quarterback that's doing this, I just don't understand why would they try. I know they paid a lot. And I know he has potential through the roof and upside through the roof, but they're getting it done with Purdy, and he looks like he's rolling. So, you have to hold him just because you have to hold him. I guess Trey Lance is there, but for me, it's Bryce, it's JT, it's DK, it's Pitts, and you know what? And that's it. Maybe I throw Tony in there.
Nah, it's not worth it. And a start 8, I don't think it's worth it. But I agree.
Those are the ones.
Pitts, Brees Hall, JT, and DK are the guys that I'm going to want to. I wouldn't even say DK. Mm-hmm. I'm okay with getting rid of DK if you could tear up from him. But so those are the main guys that we're looking at there. What are the team needs? We need a wide receiver 2. I would like to have, and QBs. You need QBs. I mean, it's only start 8, so your QBs are really important here. You've got Pitts and Okonkwo, which I love, so you've got that advantage at tight end. And in a shallow league like this, the running backs are important. So having Brees Hall and JT is great. I love that. JK is a guy that I think I want to get rid of. That's a trade piece. Elijah Moore, Ayuk, Collins, Bateman, Tony, all trade pieces. Wilson, Geno Smith.
trade pieces. Shit, even Okonkwo, I'm okay with having it as a trade piece. If somebody wants a tight end.
Yeah, I think this team needs it needs better quarterbacks behind Russell Wilson, and also it needs younger quarterbacks behind Russell Wilson. Get Baker out of there. He's taking up space. Get him the fuck out of there. Taking up a roster space. Get him out of there. Mike White, get him the fuck out of there too. You got the 104. You're probably gonna miss out on Bijan. You're probably gonna miss out on Gibbs. You'll miss out on JSN. You'll miss out on one of those receivers. You might want to take one of those receivers. It all depends on, how your draft board falls. But try and get another quarterback, young quarterback in there, in the draft, and maybe
I don't
try
want
and
to
go out
draft
there.
one. That's the one thing, especially about QBs, that it's just the hardest to try and predict. And young QBs are always oh great and all this hoo ha, but especially if you've got the draft capital, I'd rather just go out and buy one if you have the chance. You can still draft one where it's only start 8. Like those two, the quarterback and the super flexes, that's huge. That's a huge positional advantage in this kind of format. So, I want to take at least 2 of the picks. Take the 107 and the 111. Can you go out and buy a QB like we've been saying in some of the other roster reviews? Can you go buy the Kyler Murray? Can you go buy the Lamar Jackson? Can you go buy the Justin Herbert? You go to every single team and ask for every single QB. I'll give you 2 first.
Yeah, you never know.
What is it going to take to get done? You need at least one dominant QB here, So that's the one thing that I really want to do, is get a dominant QB.
Yeah, but I'm
then I
also
want to
thinking
come off of Russell or Geno, add a pick to it, and try and get me another QB on top of that. I want to fix QBs, because if you fix the QBs, you're ready to roll just by that alone.
Then you can add a receiver or whatever here or there.
Then you trade JK and one of the seconds for a wide receiver.
But I was just going off the strength of, since it is a super flex and it is one, start 8, 12 team. Some people going to ask for an arm and a leg for those guys that you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? They might ask for even more, maybe.
So you give up more. Look, you got all those seconds, but you got to see what it takes. Joey, you're going to know better than we are.
Because
how your league is, and how they're going to respond, or what they're going to want for one of these QBs. So is it going to take more than 2 firsts? That's fine, because I need to get one of them, and you have the draft capital now. You've got 224 firsts as well, so you've got the draft capital to go out and at least secure one dominant QB, so that you can do what you need to do. If you want to dominate this league, you need to get the positional advantage. You've got one at tight end already in Kyle Pitts, which is great. That's awesome. You've got Breece Hall and JT. That's awesome too. Now you've got DK. That's great. That's fine. You only need to start one other wide receiver, so it's not that crazy big of a deal. But yeah, if you can get a dominant QB and then take Russell and Geno, one or the other, and more picks, and going, or add JK to that. Can you trade Russell and JK and go out and get the Herbert, the Lawrence, or any one of those guys? It doesn't matter who it is. You're going to ask everybody, the Jalen Hurts, the Fields, whoever that you can possibly get. You've got to try and go and get, and start from the top and just work your way down, because that's the only way you're going to be able to.
I honestly think Herbert and his running back room has a little bit more juice, just because of the situation. Monty might be leaving. He looked good when he had a chance. Try and throw him in a trade as well.
Trade piece too.
People might be a little bit wondering what he can look like as a starting back, and Monty might leave, and they might let him walk, because nowadays teams want to get that big number 1 receiver for their quarterback. They might not want to pay Monty, so shop Herbert around, and Yeah, but you like Steve was saying, you need a quarterback and you need another wide receiver. But most importantly, you need more quarterbacks. You
That's
need at
really all
least
you
one
need.
more.
That's really all you need almost to compete. Like, you can get away with DK and Ayuk, like, or Collins or Bateman for now. Running that in the second wide receiver slot, even though we want to upgrade it. But then again, you've got all these second round picks. Add the
Yeah.
second to Elijah Moore. Can you get back in the first round? Add the second to Ayuk. Can you get back in the first round?
So what does he do with the 104?
So what are we doing with the 104? If we've got to trade it to get us a stud QB, we've got to trade it. I mean, again, we don't know, what's it going to cost to get one of these guys or two of these guys. I don't mind trading any of these picks to fill out your wide receiver room. But if you're able to buy a stud QB, let's say with the 107, the 111, and a piece, any wide receiver or one of the second round picks, and then you're able to add on top of that, if you're able to trade Russell or Geno with JK or one of the second round picks if you have to get you another QB, and you've got yourself two good QBs now, and you were able to keep the 104 some way, shape, or form, that's best case scenario.
Yeah.
You can either draft a QB if you weren't able to get that second QB, or you are going after one of the wide receivers. I mean, if Gibbs is there, you can take Gibbs. I would definitely love to take Gibbs if Gibbs was there. If Gibbs is not there, then you're taking either JSN, Addison, or Quentin Johnson, whoever's there. That's basically how I would look at it. But that's definitely what I'm trying to do in this kind of situation. You've got Okonkwo, too, who could be a trade piece if somebody needs a tight end. So you've got that to play with as well. I don't mind just picking up somebody on the scraps to just back up Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, because you're only starting what time?
Yeah. What do you think about that? And then what would you do with the 104?
Yeah, like you said, if he's able to keep it, you go whatever's left over. You know what I'm saying? If Gibbs is there, you take Gibbs. If not, it's going to be one of those three wide receivers, right?
Yep.
But trying to get those top quarterbacks, like you're saying, he's probably going to have to give up that 104. And it's probably going to take the 104 and the 107 to get one of those top quarterbacks.
If it does, it does. Don't forget you got the 2024 first too. So if you can give up one of the 2024 first and the 107,
just to stay in just to stay in the first round,
just to be able to keep the 104. You want to try and keep the 104, but if you got to give it up, then you got to give it up, depending on who you're going to get. So that's absolutely fine.
Depending on who you ask for is going to dictate whether you have to give up that pick. You understand? Yeah. If you're asking for a Lamar, you're probably going to have to give up that pick. You're asking for a Trevor Lawrence right now, you're probably going to have to give up that pick. Mm-hmm. If you go and you're looking for a Kyler's probably not going to start the season. So you got that working in your favor. You understand? So you might be able, if you go for a Kyler or a Tua Tagovailoa and things like that, those guys that have a little bit of injury concerns around them and a little bit more questions around them, you should be able to keep, that 104. But if you're looking for those tops, those Herberts, those guys like that, nobody's going to give up Mahomes or anything like that. But if you're looking for those guys, you're going to have to give up the 104. So I actually think Russell will be better next year. So I think you could go after a Kyler. You could go after, a Tua Tagovailoa. Hey, listen, if you want to even go a little bit cheaper, Daniel Jones is playing phenomenal football right now. And if you can get Daniel Jones as a super flex or a second quarterback to plug in there, he runs, he throws, and he's not turning the ball over. So you can probably get away with giving up the 107 and the 111 for Daniel Jones, or the 107 and one of those second round picks for Daniel Jones, and you throw in a JK, and then you get to keep your picks, your two top 10 picks. So it's a lot of moving and grooving, but
Well, Russell. What about Russell and the 111 for Daniel Jones, or the Russell and 202 for Daniel Jones?
Well, if I'm going to get
Or
Daniel Jones, I'm not going to give up Russ. But I
you might
just
have
think
to.
Russell's going to. Yeah, but I think Russell's going to be better. I'd
I think
rather
so
give up
too.
Geno.
But with the age, I'd rather have Daniel Jones. And then if Russell Wilson doesn't get better, I mean, that's you're banking on Russell Wilson getting better. I'd rather not
Yeah,
bank on that if I don't have to. If I can get
yeah,
out,
but
then I'm getting out.
yeah, but I don't know. I think as long as you have one young quarterback, you know, then you're good because that older one, he's going to retire. He'll be bad. He'll move on. And then you can, find yourself. But if you can trade Russell and you're okay with going with Daniel Jones and Geno, then
And,
you
yeah,
throw you throw Russell in there with one of those picks, and you try and get Daniel Jones, and then has somehow, some way, you try and upgrade and get another one.
yeah. I just
But
think since it's so shallow, with only the start 8, like you have to get the stud. So, like, even though most likely that person's not going to give up Patrick Mahomes, I don't care if it costs you the 104, the 107, and the 111, and the next year first. If you can go get damn Patrick Mahomes,
yeah,
like
but that's the thing.
you need the studs, but you
You
got to
can
see
ask.
at least
You
you
can
got to
ask.
see what it costs. You got to see what it costs. Just start. If it's too much, it's too much, but you've got to at least see. If you got to give up 3 first, I'm okay with it. Anything more than that, it's pushing it. But if you
You
could
can
give up
ask.
3 first for the Mahomes, Allen, Hurts, Burrows of the world,
I just don't.
then that's great.
Yeah, I
But
just don't see. I don't see people trading those guys. So
yeah, well, that's why you might have
that's
to
why
give up.
that's why I try and give options other than that. I mean, if you want to shoot for the moon, I'm aim for the moon,
You
shoot
got
for
to
the
do your due
stars,
diligence.
whatever
You
you
got to
want
do
to
your due
call it.
diligence. You got to do your
You,
due
you
diligence,
know, right,
especially
but that's going to
especially
be a
now.
hard one.
You got to do the due diligence, especially now that people are starting to look into the rookies a little bit, and everybody's getting that rookie fever. You never know. You never know what you can get. But yeah, start at the top because you need to get these 2 stud QBs. You get you get the 2 stud QBs, and you're in position to compete every single year with this team. So
Yeah.
QBs are the most important. Wide receiver next, but it's not a crazy thing you need to go after right now. You can probably draft a wide receiver that might be
No, and one of those guys he has might pop next year. I mean, Nico
Oh,
Collins is finally
Ayuk is,
getting.
Ayuk was the top
Yeah,
20
and
guy this year. We don't know if that's going to continue to happen next year,
you don't
but
know he may be on a new team next year. You don't know if fucking the Jets get a new quarterback and more pops. You know,
oh, okay.
Bateman's coming back off the injury.
This is what happened here. This is Joey, I'm guessing.
Yeah,
Um, he was 4th in points scored, had bad schedule luck. I decided to sell Saquon and Devontae to a great team that wanted to go all in. Ended up getting Hall, Herbert, 107, 24 first, 207, 206, and a 24 second. Yeah, I like it. You got Hall,
yeah, that's
you
not
got the
bad.
2 firsts on top of it.
Yeah,
So I like the trade. I like the position that you are. I like the position that you're in. I mean, and you were 4th in points scored, and you don't even have great QBs right now. So
yeah, and the thing was, well, he started the season with Saquon and Devontae, so he realized that he wasn't really gonna go anywhere, and he made a move, and he sold Saquon, he sold Devontae, and he got the picks. That was an awesome move right there. If you knew you weren't
yeah,
going anywhere, so
I like it.
now, yeah, now I think first order of business is upgrading your quarterback room. And then secondly, try and get another receiver in there. Somebody to match DK. But I think your running backs are set. It's, same with the tight ends. I like his tight ends. I like his running backs. Upgrade the quarterbacks and maybe one more wide receiver, and you should be good to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Usually we like to build around the wide receivers, but with this format,
Two
the
wide
better.
receivers, it's better to build around the running backs, I think, and the
Yeah.
quarterbacks.
Yeah, the better option. You've got to get the QBs are just the most important. So you got to start there.
If you was starting three wide receivers would be a lot more important.
Yeah.
Wraps it up for this episode of the Roster Chronicles. Guys, let me know what you think down there in the comments. If you have any other suggestions for this particular team, pop them down there in the comments. Do me a favor there. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. If you do play Dynasty Fantasy Football, if you would like a Dynasty roster team review, check down there in the description. Hit us up on our email at dynastylifeforever@gmail.com. Send us your roster. Make sure you send us the format, any other information that we're going to need to properly review your team so you can get on the next episode. But again, thanks for tuning in, guys.